Hey there, welcome to a special guide to surveying minerals in Elite Dangerous Horizons. Yes, we are now playing this on Elite Dangerous Horizons 2.0.08, and so this is apparently the latest version at the time of recording this, and I have an upgraded monitor which allows me to see this at 1080p, but unfortunately I don't have an upgraded graphics card, and so this is recorded rather low in frames per second. I can certainly get a lot of frames per second out of this engine, but as you will see as I take off, sometimes it misses a few beats. You join us in a Federal Corvette on the planet Junga 5. Junga 5 in this case is rich in a number of minerals that we're going to need on this journey, and among those tungsten and yttrium, and we might also find some arsenic on here and a few others as well. So let's take a look at our surroundings on the planet. We'll need to find somewhere that's nice and flat and smooth, and this smooth area over here looks pretty decent, but you can see it's actually guarded by some kind of base. Now at this point, even though we are in the Corvette, I don't really want to get very close to that thing, and I've no idea what this is. You can see defense turrets. Yes, I'm keeping my distance from those just in case I get blown out of the sky, and I can see maybe 5 of those dots on the radar showing us that we have maybe 5 defense turrets in that area. In the centre there you can see some glowing lights, and I wonder what those are. Well, they're actually mining robots. If we get a closer look, then those mining drones should be mining down there. As you can see, pretty terrible frame rates I've managed to capture on my machine, but ignoring that, we'll need to find somewhere flat and away from that base as far as possible, and then start heading off looking for our prime target in this case, and that's Yttrium, or however you pronounce that, Yttrium, and that's one of the rare materials in this game. The first thing to do is to lower the landing gear and to look for a place to land, and to locate that you will have to look underneath your ship. There should be a blue dot appearing. You can see momentarily a blue dot will appear, and that means that somewhere in the area is a place to land, and if your ship turns completely blue, it means that that place is actually a good place to land. And so hopefully if we are lower enough, lower ourselves down, we can attach ourselves to the surface and deploy ourselves in the SRV. My first tip and my first action upon leaving my ship is to dismiss it straight away, and that means it won't interfere with the radar, and I know certain reviewers online have recommended that and completely ignored that as the golden rule, because that gets in the way of all kinds of things. So you don't really want to get that thing noticed and under attack. You really want that to be sent away. And then the second thing is to scan around and to locate, in this case, prime target. Now we'll go through on this very short guide all the targets that you can find on the radar. You see the radar in the lower center just above the minimap, and you can see on the radar we're homing in on a signal. All we have to do is to find that signal and press your T key, in my case, to lock onto that, and to press the mouse to blow that up. And in this case we find pretty much nothing. So, well, those guys are pretty much spread out on the planet, and you'll have to rove all the way over there in your surveying trip. And to make this slightly easier, let's head towards the sun and let's find something of that horizon. To make that job much easier, I like to use the boost, and I like to use continuous boost, and by toggling that with my actually the tab key I used in this case. I can use continuous boost, and that will use up all the boost in my tank without having to press any other buttons, and then I can press tab again to deselect that, and if there are any boost in the tank, when it refills it will actually eject it just like this, and like this. I'm actually not touching anything at the moment. That will take care of it, and then when I land just like that, I can now press the tab key and hopefully get control of that vehicle. It also helps to have the steering pointed in a straight line and also the revs high upon landing, and then that takes care of the landing. And you really want to make a nice soft landing. Different ways to make soft landings, and one of the ways is to deselect the boost and have some boost in store, make sure that that boost is full, and then jam that on just before the landing, and hopefully that will touch down no problem. But at this point I should point out that I'm not absolutely concerned about our energy or our shield power in this case, which is plummeting from the 100%. You can see that line under the shield, blue shield, that is plummeting down, and unfortunately that is now below 50%. Now what that will mean is we are vulnerable to blowing up, and what I like to do is to actually collect a few minerals to repair ourselves, and when it gets down to maybe 40% or even 35%, I then repair our craft and then continue on our way. The SRV works definitely more quickly if you can hold down the pedal, and for that I like to use the assist off, you can see, and with the assist off we can get up to maybe 39, maybe even 40 kilometers per hour out of this thing, and with the assist on I have only managed to get maybe 29, so that really makes the job much quicker, and of course flying to the target also maintains the speed. At the moment we are still looking for the Yttrium, so whilst we are looking for that we'll just go through the rock guide. The 3 stripes you can see on the radar are the common minerals, the common rocks that you'll find everywhere, which are native to every planet, and they will contain the most common rocks, i.e. carbon, phosphorus and iron definitely, and even some sulfur and maybe even nickel. And those will contain the basic elements that you need to refuel and repair your craft, the iron and nickel for repair and the phosphorus and sulfur for refuel. Most planets will contain most random minerals, which are the common ones, which are the 3 thick bands that you can see popping up on my radar. So ignoring those, we want to find single bands, which is the mesosiderite. Single bands in this case will reveal something which is less common and less native, and there is a 7% chance of finding a very rare mineral in those, i.e. the yttrium and the polonium, and there is a very good chance of finding semi-rare materials in there, and every planet that I find is rich in only maybe 2 or 3 very rare materials, and maybe sometimes even 1 very rare, and you will find that in very rare places, and again there is a 7% chance of finding that in an outcrop. I think for a very rare sometimes they pop up and sometimes you'll just find nothing, and an outcrop is 2 lines on the radar, 2 spread out lines with a big gap in between. But what I'm actually looking for is 2 lines close together, and that makes a whooping sound rather than a clicking sound, and that points towards outcrops as we've found out, but it can also lead to metallic meteorites. The metallic meteorites are out of body astral experiences which have plummeted in, and those can contain anything which is native to this particular body actually, and those things can not surround other planets, so you can't expect to find polonium native to a group of planets, though these things are actually native to just the one. But what I'm actually looking for is a very rare, and that's the yttrium, and you can only find very rares sometimes in the mesosiderite, which is the 1 line, sometimes in the outcrops, which is the two lines on the radar separated by a thick band, and so it's always worth checking those, but hopefully checking those two thick lines close together on the very bottom means that we can locate what we're looking for, and that's one of those meteorites. Can't find what you're looking for, then sometimes the next best thing is the next best thing, and sometimes these single lines and the siderites are better to go for. And if you can't find anything, certainly than the triples, although sometimes the triple lines, I have known those to contain the very rares. The semi-rares include the vanadium, the germanium, and all those other ones. In this case, this plant is actually common, vanadium and germanium, so you'll find those, and they are the basic FSD boost, and we're actually going for FSD boosts in this video, and those are very hard to get. We are trying to get the 100% boost, because we are in a Corvette, we're going to need that at bare minimum. So I'm not too interested in those basic common elements, the germanium and the vanadium. I'm trying to get the rare ones, and those include the arsenic, the yttrium, the niobium, and the last one, the polonium. And I haven't found very many polonium right now. I have maybe 3 polonium in my entire arsenal, but I have maybe 36 niobium, which is pretty good going, and I have 24 yttrium. I'm just looking for my last one to put me up to 25, and I'm hoping to get 25 yttrium because I'll need that to gain 25 FSD boosts, and I have maybe 28, 29 arsenic, can't remember off the top of my head, but I have quite a few of those. But I still have not got the polonium, and for every 1 polonium I will gain an FSD boost, and because I have 3 at the moment, I have 3 100%, and so I'll have to go off and search for those. And there are plenty around the Coalsack Nebula and the Coalsack area, as far as I've found out on my research, and so if you're heading off in that direction, Coalsack is the place to be. But if you can't do that, if you want to do it the hard way, then you can head for Shinra to Desert A1. If you have that permit, then you can get in there and you can get the polonium, but it is very rare, in fact so rare that people say it's rarer than the yttrium I'm going for at the moment. And well, I'm not quite sure about that, because yttrium is actually very rare on this planet, and the only places I've found it there almost guaranteed is in the meteorites. So getting impatient, I haven't found one sometimes for hours on end, and all these other rocks to be ignored, and sometimes the meteorites themselves are in hard to get to places. In this case, in frustration, I'm heading for some more mesosiderite, and that is, as I say, a second alternative. You want to head to that because there's nothing else on the radar, and sometimes if it beeps wildly there is something in there, but that clicking sound usually reveals the common elements, and that's pretty deflating in this game. But having seen other games recently, No Man's Sky and Star Citizen, I can reveal Star Citizen, well, you have to walk around a landing bay for 5 minutes before you can exit and get into your craft, and then you have to walk around the craft for 5 minutes before you can make your way up towards the cockpit area. And if there's anything that goes wrong with your craft, then you have to walk around your craft and exit that and repair that. You use different computers within that, and it's all very great, but that takes a long time. So actually seeing Star Citizen, it's actually some way behind this game, if you like. Well, maybe Wing Commander would probably be the best way to describe it, a mix between Wing Commander and Freelancer, and it's the same guy who created Wing Commander and Freelancer. And as you can hear, perhaps hailstone belting away on my window, It's the same guy, so it would be the same type of game and a mix of those. It won't necessarily be a great mix of those two games, and well, sometimes the hype is more great than the actual game experience, and those guys have got a lot to learn, and Elite Dangerous has been going longer and it has more scope, even though at the moment it hasn't got much depth to it. But it feels more fleshed out, and you can see things on the instrument panels in Elite Dangerous that you simply cannot see in Star Citizen, where things really don't make sense, and you can't see the very simplest things like how fast you are going and where you are in the system. And so I think Elite Dangerous still has a lot going for it, and I think it will expand, hopefully. Not too much padding around the ship, because that would take ages in my Corvette, and of course who wants to really have a team of players, one of them controlling the guns, which takes 5 minutes to walk down to and get into the turrets, and those are upside down of course, so it takes a lifetime to get used to that, and who has that many friends to do that with anyway. I've actually got one online friend which I talk to regularly, and that's Lou Colzer, and thank God for that. I actually get a great appreciation of this game through his eyes, and we chat together. And as far as I know, in No Man's Sky it would be a 1,000,000,000 to 1 chance of finding your friend in such a massive galaxy, and so you can't really team up in that, although there is multiplayer options if you want to get teamed up, but not in the same league as Ed does already with its wing options. And so that's of limited desire when you really have friends. And as for Star Citizen, well, I'm not quite sure whether that is a massive multiplayer experience like they say. As far as I'm concerned, the player dies every 5 minutes, and that's really not the experience I want. I want to survive as long as possible, and if I die, I'll know that it is my mistake and not some computer colliding into me, and things like that. So this is me finally finding some minerals on this planet, and yet again we haven't collected anything. We haven't collected one thing yet, and you can see 65% health. I can read it very clearly on the Elite Dangerous readout, so I'm still looking for those double signals, and one of those double signals on the horizon has got to lead to that Yttrium. This video is running out and limited time to find it, so let's see if we can find it in this direction. You can see the planets are sometimes rocky, and the best way of those rocks is to not touch them at all and simply skim over those. Keep your foot held down on the pedal, find the next ramp and keep going. And sometimes the sky is the limit, particularly on planets that have 0.01 atmosphere, or the low atmospheres. This one actually has 0.2, and so you can see the great view out of our window, and sometimes some sites of interest and points of interest, but I don't usually bother with those. They're actually ironically not interesting to me. What is interesting is the Yttrium, and I'm taking my time to listen for that on the radar and to head off into that direction. Signal this strength, I'd recommend hopping over maybe 2 hills to find our candidate, and let's hope this time, yes it is, it's a gold object, it's a nice gold object, and so we know it's a meteorite. Let's blow it up and see what we find. Among the natives is some Yttrium, and that puts me up to the 25, which is what I really needed. And so in celebration, let's just do a donut around that area, and then let's stop just messing around and let's actually scan for our next victim. And yes, it took quite some time to find that one, and sometimes it does. In this game, most of the common elements are found very commonly, and you can see I actually leave some elements on the radar and head off away from those. So usually I'll head off in completely the opposite direction to where we've headed before, and in this case let's just keep following that sun and let's see if we can find anything else. But unfortunately we did not find anything else on this journey. What we actually found over there, right at the top of the radar, you'll find some lines, some double lines, or even some single lines, and what those are probably a base or something like that. And those really mess around with the radar. You can see I can actually adjust my flight mechanism, and if we are veering offline I can use my A and D keys to correct myself mid-flight and make a nice soft landing just like this. And yes, hull integrity is down less than 50%, and at this point I will be thinking about rebuilding and repairing my craft and doing that, but unfortunately on this playthrough I didn't find much else after this, so what I decided to do is recall my ship, and that will repair my SRV for free at the moment, and I'm sure that will cost credits eventually, and we'll have to have an auto repair kit into that thing, and that will take yet more space up. And at the moment I'm having to use more space because of the SRV unit than I'm used to, and I haven't even got an advanced scanner or any kind of scanning equipment on my Corvette, simply because I do not have room for it amongst the cargo racks. And so unfortunately that is what's happening, and sometimes it's even possible to drive backwards in this game. I've been known to drive backwards at high speed for 20 minutes and that thing will simply roll over and continue rolling back high speed. And it's also a fun thing to do in this game. But if you've always played this with flight assist off or drive assist off, then it's time to experiment. And you can see that I'm not doing too much rolling around in this game. And again, if I do, it's a quick repair and it's a quick refuel, and there's no problem with that. But you can only refuel if you've collected those minerals in the first place. So if it's your first time out and you haven't collected any minerals, you've simply driven around, you might run out of fuel before you've collected any minerals, and that means you can't refuel. And even though you can recall your ship, that ship will not land on top of you, and you can't refuel from the ship either. So basically, if it's your first time out, then the first thing you'll need is some sulfur and some phosphorus. If we do anything else, and then you'll get away with anything else, otherwise you'll blow up. And if you blow up, well, that will cost you a few credits, and then you'll return back to your ship in orbit around this planet. And my ship is in orbit around this planet, and that's where I'm going back to right now. Now, just before we go, stay with us, because I have an exclusive screen capture of Elite Dangerous 10 from the roadmap. And as you can see, Elite Dangerous 10 includes all of the 300 extra galaxies all the way around that Milky Way. And what they've done is actually used maybe 12 templates to recreate all of those galaxies. You can see in the middle all those orange ones, the orange circles, they're all identical. The flat orange discs are identical, and then the two spiral armed ones are identical. The orange ones, the other spiral arms, which looks like the Milky Way, they all are identical, they all spin in the same direction. And the white lights in the middle, you can see 4 white lights and 1 over to the left, they are identical. So yes, they have saved time and energy by just multiplying those templates, and it's a good idea because we can see all these from home base. You can see I'm pointing towards the Milky Way at the moment, and I can fly to that region, and if I fly to the outskirts I can then chain all the way in to the centre of the galaxy, and well, the centre of the universe in fact in this game, and that mirrors No Man's Sky, which the aim is to get to the centre of some kind of universe. In this case it makes some kind of sense. Unfortunately it has a number of drawbacks. The first one is, in fact the major drawback is, unless you run into a bunch of aliens in one of these galaxies, there really is no reason to go out there because there's no action going on, there's no life going on. There is exploration, and that exploration data is worth a fortune if you bring that home, and there is no point doing that because most players have reached elite ages ago. And there is mining, of course, but you'll have to bring that all the way back to the Milky Way to get something for that, unless it's an alien mineral, and then you'll get a fortune for that. But again, most people have maxed out their trading elite a long time ago. The drawback with this thing is it gets to these places in virtual real time. I'm not talking actual real time, but if you select to go to one of these galaxies, you'll have to wait maybe a week to get there. So what you have to do is to set off and switch your computer off, and then after 2-3 days check up on it and see if it's done it, and after 3 days it will have arrived at this destination. It's some kind of planet, it's some kind of place around some kind of unknown galaxy, and just like landing in a brand new universe from scratch, you'll have to find your way around that thing, and you'll have to find up from down and find all the best things, and maybe there's supernova in there and pulsars and quasars and all the things that we've seen, and plus even more strange things. So yes, the sightseeing is great, but getting there in virtual real time isn't, and that's the sleeping aspect. Again, you're supposed to wait and get there, and the thing takes forever. But from there, yes, you can go on deep into the universe itself and fuel scoop to your heart's content and land and explore planets and things like that. But without the populated zone, it feels pretty empty out there, and it's a long way between these things. So if you really want to skip and get your way to that centre of the universe, it's going to take maybe, well, quite a few days in real time, maybe quite a few months in real time actually, to get there, skipping from one to the other, waiting basically for the server to say, yes, you've got there, I'm going to now generate that procedurally generated place, which is identical to a few of the others that you've seen already. But it's a good idea, and those 300 galaxies do look great, as I say, in the, well, populated zone. You can spin around and you can see those. You can even click on those and plot a distance using, well, the super cruise has gone out of the window. They've returned back to the Star Dreamer aspect. You're supposed to sleep that thing off. But anyway, I think they've tried to capture the No Man's Sky aspect, and of course they've got the aliens now, so you can expect a bunch of aliens on these different places. But usually it's a big old space out there, and bumping into your friends as they jet off to places unknown is even more unlikely. But at least you can text chat to those and voice chat to those and even wing up, even though you are so many galaxies away. So, well, that's Elite Dangerous 10. Thanks for watching another one of these videos. I hope that's helped you mine Yttrium, or at least find that stuff, and I hope that's given you some idea about the future. So as we see another test clip, just to see if I can get some smooth footage out of this ripper, I'm setting off from Jameson Memorial out there on another voyage. Well, in this case I'm actually setting off into another battle zone to earn myself some more cash. So until next time, I hope to see you again in another guide, maybe another part sometime soon. Thank you.